Who knew that everyone's favorite roller coaster model would be coming to a park no one knows about in a state no one goes to? This is Waterville, USA in Alabama, USA. Yeah, this is really surprising. So, Cannonball Run is their only wooden roller coaster, has a length of 1,700 feet, maximum height of 65 feet, and then it goes 43 miles per hour with 0 inversions, with a ride time clocking in at a little under a minute. So yeah, looking at the stats, this coaster is a little bit less than underwhelming. This thing has like no stats whatsoever, and it's kind of like a blue streak basically. Yeah, there's nothing impressive about this coaster except that it looks nice, I guess. Kind of, not really. Talking about your actual ride experience, you're gonna turn left out of the station, go up the 65-foot lift hill before going into your drop. And honestly, I just mentioned this coaster looks nice. It does, but not if you're actually riding it. The actual track is starting to rot, and the actual supports look nice though, in my opinion. So at the top, you'll go into this drop, and I haven't ridden this, so I can't judge on how good this coaster is. But I am gonna assume I know that this coaster's not that great. I mean, it's for the model it is, it's hard to be good. So you're basically just going to go through a bunch of airtime hill after airtime hill before going into this little bank turn. I mean, it's not as bad as some classic coasters probably are, because I don't see too many trim breaks here, which is nice. And then you're just going to go through some more airtime hills before finishing the ride, because it's like super small. So yeah, there's not much to say here. Now, there is a lot to say on why this is closing, and yes, this is closing. On their Facebook page, so on the Waterville page, it has been closed for a lot, and on RCDB it's going to close. So it's hard to tell because I haven't been to the park, but it's either closed or will close very, very soon. Now, what could this mean? Well, I guess it could mean that they're just closing it to open a new roller coaster, a new attraction. But what doesn't make sense is they would have to put in a very strictly out and back coaster in this area because it's a very small plot of land and it's right next to the parking lot. So I doubt that they're building this to open up a new plot of land because there's a plenty of land at this park. That is by far not their biggest issue, and they wouldn't tear down their only wooden roller coaster for land when they have plenty. This is also a parking lot coaster, like I just mentioned, so it's not like they could combine land with anything else. Now, what I think is interesting is that this is the only wooden roller coaster, which is interesting why this one is closing and not maybe like a smaller ride that they have and not a roller coaster, because when you're this small of a park, you really shouldn't be closing roller coasters. And even though this has been operating since 1995, so it is very old, that's not a reason to close your only Woody. So yes, I think that this could be receiving the RMC treatment. Now, what's interesting is that this doesn't seem like the first roller coaster that I would think to get RMC'd, which is why, and I'm really excited for this, I think, I'm just going to give this a complete shot in the dark, that this could become our first RMC family coaster. I've been wanting this to happen for a while just because I think it would be interesting, but I think this is going to be the first RMC hybrid family coaster, and I think that would be cool, unless they were to add, 40, 50 feet to this thing. Because I don't really consider an RMC, like big when it's not over 100 feet. So they would have to add about 35 feet for this to be exactly 100 feet. And I don't know if they would do that. Especially with the park with this budget, I think they're just going to want the bare minimum, considering this coaster's stats are not impressive at all. And this park hardly gets any attendance. So it's going to be interesting. I'm kind of stumbling here because I don't know what they could do with this. I mean, looking back at the layout, it's just two airtime hills after the drop. Then you have an overbanked turn, which it's kind of hard to RMC those unless you just make it into a steeper bank turn, or you could do what they did with Twisted Cyclone and make it into that awesome reverse Cobra roll, that Stevie Wonder element. And then the second half is just a bunch of like kind of curvy airtime hills, and those I could see turn into like those outer bank airtime hills that RMC just loves to put on everything. Or, just turn into like maybe one inversion. But then again, if this is a family coaster, we won't be seeing an inversion. Again, I don't really see that much opportunity to add track. And RMC hasn't really added supports, like added actual course. Because take Steel Vengeance, for example. That follows the exact same path as Main Streak. And they didn't add a single, like, actual stretch of track. Like, no wood was added aside from the wood that was already there. They just increased the stats. And they would definitely increase the stats for this, I think. I mean, I think they would have to. Because if this is RMC, if it's going through bigger inversions and bigger airtime hills, then I think it would literally valley. So I think that they wouldn't have to make this drop a lot steeper and make this a bit taller for this to really work out. I'm trying to think of an RMC that might be similar to this, and the only thing I can really think of is like maybe Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia, the Georgia Cyclone. or maybe even like this Cyclone at like Six Flags New England. I mean, they're kind of similar layouts, but then again, not really. This follows that really, really classic out and back feel of a coaster, and it's going to be really interesting to see. As for the name, and I love thinking about RMC names because they add Twisted to everything, but Twisted Cannonball doesn't sound right because a cannonball is an oval, or I'm sorry, is a sphere, and they're not twisted at all. So, I mean, they might just change the name completely. If it's a family coaster, it will be something a little bit more family friendly. But I don't know. This is really interesting, and I want to hear your thoughts about this. So post down in the comment section below what you think about this really interesting addition, or possible addition rather. Do you think that I'm overthinking it? Do you think that I nailed it on the head? Post your comments down below. My name is Coaster Cupcake, and I will catch you all in the next video.